Yes. No way. Oh my God.
Very subtle.
Unbelievable. Oh. And he missed it. Oh my God. Ooh la la.
Boom, no chance.
That's crazy. Game, set, and match. This is too much.
Hello, everybody. Good evening or night. I don't know for Europeans. Good afternoon for Americans and for Australians. We are going to watch today the quarterfinals, the two quarterfinals, men's quarterfinals, between the first one between Novak Djokovic and Lorenzo Musetti, and then later the one between Yannick Sinner and Ben Shelton. Both of them are extremely exciting for completely different reasons, and we're going to dive first into the one between Novak Djokovic and Lorenzo Musetti. The first thing that I want to, hi everybody. The first thing that I want to say is, so far in this Australian Open, Novak is extremely fresh physically and mentally. He didn't have any difficult match. He even have the potentially most difficult one that he didn't have to play because Mensik had to withdraw. So he comes to this quarterfinal being super fresh, which is of course always very important, but even more considering Novak's age and considering the fact that affected a lot his performance in last year's almost all the semifinals. Of course, he was playing the top guys. He was playing Sinner or Alcaraz, but every time he started the match being almost half injured or extremely tired. And that, of course, has a big impact on the match. And he said it. He said, the problem that I have now, one of the problems related to my age is the ability to recover between matches. So when he has very tough matches during a Grand Slam, he pays the price. I don't know if he's going to win or not today, but if he does, let's hope for him that he finds a way to win in 3 or 4 sets and he can play a semifinals of a Grand Slam in 2026 being fresh, because everybody would like to see how he would do against the two guys who are almost untouchable. I mean, I don't know why I said almost, by the way, because they're totally untouchable for the last 2 seasons. Just a word about their head-to-head, because they're really one-sided. If you look just at the figure, it's 9-1 for Novak against Musetti. But if you look more in details, most of the matches were extremely close matches. The last one they played was actually indoors, but it was hard courts. It was not so long ago. End of last tournament of last season, so just a few months ago, and Novak won, but he won 7-5 in the third. So that was a very close match. They played each other twice at Roland Garros, and the match went 5 sets every time. So he's a player that poses problem to Novak, even though Novak ends up winning most of the time, 9 out of 10 times. We have our own also win predictor. We have our AI team that worked on it, and our win predictor, contrary to most of the win predictors, which are based on the head-to-head and the past results, is more based on the game, which means that it studies the games and it sees how the games match and who wins the points, who breaks more often. And I want to tell you the result of which is not surprising, but our win predictor gives 85% of chances to Novak to win, because Musetti would break every 6 games average, while Novak would break every 3 games average. And the AI sees a 3 sets match with 45% probabilities, which is quite high. You don't know everything. You know a few things already. We're going to dive into some of the statistics, because we also have a team that is working on that, our analytics team, who prepared a few key factors to understand better this quarterfinals of the Australian Open. If you look at Novak's first serve, and it has been a key asset since the start of this tournament. In Athens, when they played each other last November, Musetti struggled on Djokovic's first serve, winning only 30% of the points. So far at this Australian Open, Novak won 84% of points after his first serve, and that's huge. And if you compare to the big servers, it's more than most of them. Why so? Because of his incredible accuracy. He serves, first of all, he disguises really well his first serve. Second, he's playing extremely close to the lines. is super accurate. He uses all the spins, so flat slide kick really well, and is great at serve +1. So it doesn't make, of course, he has a lot of free points, but also when the returner tries to hit the ball back in play, he plays short, and Novak is inside the court very often, which gives him the win very often, 84% of the times in this Australian Open. And a high percentage of first serve also, 67% serves in by Djokovic at this Australian Open so far. So that has been a key strength. So we're going to move to the second key fact page, which is about the returns. And we all know that Novak is incredible at returning. You know, a lot of people think he's the best of all times in return. I don't know if it's still true with the new generation, but he's been an incredible in that area, and he returns very deep. So let's come back to Athens, and Novak won 77% of points on return in this match between those two in Athens. 48% of the time is able to return extremely deep. There are three zones: the short ones, the ones between just after the service line and 1 meter away from the service line. So 8, and then there is the very deep one, which is the last meter between the baseline and 1 meter away from it. And 48% of the time is able to hit that zone when he returns first serves. And finally, I don't see this. Yes. So yes, the first one was in return and in backhand return, which is his best return, and 38% if you take returns from forehand and backhand for 38% of the time, he can hit this zone. And finally, the fact number 3, which is about the position of Musetti, who is a player that tends to be a bit too far back. Novak, in his last match, was 2 meters away average from the baseline, and Musetti has been forced to play 3 meters away, which is really far behind the baseline 35% of the time in this tournament so far, which is a place where it's way more difficult to hurt your opponent. So that's okay when you're defending, but to pass from defense to offense has been something that is still a work in progress for Musetti. I think he improved a lot. He was way too defensive before. He's better, but it's still a work in progress. So in that match, that will be also a key, especially when you consider that 79% of Musetti's winners come from him being inside the 2 meter zone inside the baseline. So if he wants to be able to dictate and dominate the rallies rather than letting that to Novak, he will have to move his position way closer to the baseline. What else can we say? We can talk about Novak, his mindset, because we know that in terms of achievement, he's by far the best player of all times. And I think his mindset has a lot to do with it. He has the killer mindset, and that made such a big difference all those years. And the last 2 years, he hasn't been able to win Grand Slams. The only time he had an incredible drive and motivation was to win the Olympics, and he did. And he was able to beat Alcaraz in the final, which once again shows that when his motivation is close to 10 out of 10, he can achieve incredible things, and his level, especially when it comes to the big moments, is incredible. He has this ability to raise his level a lot, but it's completely linked to his motivation. Once he achieved the 24th Grand Slam, became the greatest, he definitely got hurt by it. I mean, his motivation got hurt, especially when Rafa retired, because he knew he would be the greatest for sure. In terms, again, of achievement, it's not a personal opinion. And from that moment, suddenly he was not able to win Grand Slams anymore. And to me, it has a lot to do with his incredible motivation. So far in that tournament, he has shown signs of anger, and when he has this, it's always a good sign. So maybe it's not nice to see. A lot of people can criticize it, but it's a good sign, because when he's like this, it's because he's fully focused and fully wants it. So, we all remember this ball that he hit this close to the ball boy just by anger, and it shows his mindset. So the big question will be, which kind of Novak will we have in that match? Is he going to be fully determined to win? If so, I think his chances to win are really high, and that's a big question. And last thing, because the match just started and Novak just won the first point on his serve. As we said, for Musetti, one of the key will be to be able to be closer to his baseline, to have some chance to dictate, and we're going to see a Musetti who's going to mix the game a lot, using slice backhand, a lot of top spin, quite high balls, both out of the forehand and the backhand, and sometimes way flatter accelerations. This is what we can expect from the match. Good serve, swing volley, and a beautiful slice backhand passing shot down the line of Musetti, who stayed on the backhand corner. That's incredible. This is pure talent from the Italian. Of course, a beautiful player, beautiful game. One of the last 100 backhand on tour. And we talked about the ups and downs of Alcaraz so far, but Novak is really great at ups and downs also in the first rounds. He's a player that is, I think they have this in common, and I'm going to explain what I think happens in their head on those moments. Great serve, and the famous serve +1. Then Novak is inside the court on the second shot. Great forehand, inside out, winner. I mean, it's not a winner, but impossible for Musetti to put this ball back in play. Musetti, who's incredible at defending. He can do everything, this player. He can attack, he can defend, he can slice, he can drop shot, he can volley. And he has a lot of options. And growing up, and I know him since he's 14 years old, he was in my tennis academy at that age. Growing as a junior and then as a pro, he took the habit to base his game a lot on defense because he was great at it, and that was making him win a lot of matches. Is he good in attack? He is good in attack, but it's not something natural for him, and he has to force his nature to be more offensive. So that's why I'm saying it's a work in progress, and to be able to pass from defense to offense will make him even a better player if he's able to do it more often, and if he has the will to dictate more often as well. He's able to do it sometimes, not always. And that's something that so far, I mean, he's already a top 10 player, he's doing great, but if he wants to go to the next level now, this is something that there should be no compromise about. Double fault on his first service point, and it's going to be 3 break points already in the first service game of Musetti. And very early in the rally, Novak finds a way to push Lorenzo to move back, and from being a bit too far back, he accepts the domination in the rally of Novak. Still no first serves for the Italian. Break point for Novak. It's interesting to see that the only 2 points that Musetti won, he was the one dictating, and he lost the first 3 by being more defensive. And a mistake from the Italian. Break Novak. Only 2 out of 6 first serves for the Italian, and immediate punishment from Novak. And so this is something that happens very often with Novak. He starts the matches really well, breaks early, and same as Alcaraz. And very early in the match has the feeling that, I have a lot of margin. It's not anything cocky, but it's a feeling that if you really play your game, you're gonna dominate, and you see that very often in Novak. After the first serve, a real big drop of focus. We see the same with Alcaraz, because they get, I know it doesn't sound good, but they get bored. They get bored because in a way they have too much margin. And this is where they become vulnerable. The moment they feel that they have the margin, because, without playing incredible, but just playing the level, they're really super comfortable winning. They lose focus, they start to make mistakes, and then the opponent comes back and they start to have a bit of stress. And then the match changes. And I know he has this feeling, and I know also because I know him and we had discussions, and I remember a long time ago he was talking about him playing Rafa, and the game plan in his head and what was working against him was so clear. He knew, okay, if I execute that, at some point I'll be in a great position to win. So, and we're talking about Rafael Nadal, it's not any player, for sure not. So it feels probably in all those matches, I have my game plan. If I execute my game plan, 99% of the time I'm going to win. And it's not even something like intellectual. It is intellectual because he knows it, but it's also something that he feels. He feels when he's on the court. Not a good volley from Novak. The volley was really easy, but you see how static he is. He doesn't move. And a good volley, you have to move forward with the ball. And that's what hurts his volleys so much. In the previous match, he also hit a lot of mistakes at the net. Rookie mistake for someone like Novak, who's the greatest of all times. It's definitely an area in which he never was great. There are 2 areas. Most of the areas is amazing, but there are 2 areas where he's not great. It's volleying, and hitting overheads is the same. which is even weirder to me because he's serving so well. And I've seen some footage of him practicing yesterday, and he did practice the drop shot quite a lot, which will be a key today because we said it. Musetti tends to be too far from the baseline, so the drop shot against those players is always a key shot. And that's part of the plan. I'm moving back, I drop shot. I'm moving back, I open the court with my forehand, scored with a shorter angle, and I make him run, and I push him to play shorter. I don't know if you watched the match of yesterday. I mean, I know you did, Mumbo. The match between Tin and Zverev, and Tin is so impressive. He refuses to step back, and the pace of his shots is so amazing because he's hitting the ball so close to the baseline and inside the baseline every time he can. Where Musetti, which technically can hit the ball way harder than Tin, is far back and accepts it. He's behind the Melbourne. Serve and volley. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's insane. I was exposing the weakness of Novak's volleys and overhead, and he couldn't make a better demonstration than now. He should have put the ball away twice at the net. Then first overhead, he should have taken the ball also away. And the second one, I mean, I don't even talk about it. It was a penalty kick and he missed it. I know there is sun, you're right, Shorty 13-11, but still, the sun didn't hurt him when it was coming to the volleys. You're right, but still, I mean, it's his weakness. We know it's his weakness. And yes, Novak came to the net many times already, and he will throughout that match because he knows how good Musetti is defending. So the best way to close the points, and it's an advice always when you play moon bowlers. I'm not saying that Musetti is a moon bowler, but he's incredible at defense. The only way to close the points is when you feel that you hit a good shot and your opponent is far away, come to the net to close the points. Stefano, you put it the best possible way. Interesting matchup. Defensive Musetti against no net domination Novak. I mean, that's a good summary for that last game. And so Shorty 13-11 is giving us the nickname of Novak on Reddit, which is Djoko Smash. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the best player of all time, so it's funny, but let's give him the respect he deserves. And for any player to be broken back that way, I mean, the level of frustration that it should put inside you is probably huge. And let's see how Novak deals with that. Probably quite well, because he probably has this feeling deep inside himself that he can break Musetti whenever he wants to. 10 unforced errors already for Djokovic, and it's only 2-1 in the first set. Sorry, 9 unforced errors, but it's way too much. Way too much. Especially, he has no excuse of not being fresh. He's fresh. He's super fresh. He had only easy matches. He didn't even play his last round. Mensik withdrawn, and that was planning to be a tough one for him because Mensik beat Novak in the final of Miami. And I like this question of XYT. Coach, what's one tennis player you'd want to coach and why? That's a very good question. Let me think about it because I want to give you a good answer. There's not only one, there are a few. But I don't want to coach for the moment for personal reasons. I decided not to coach. So that's why I have more time to share, those moments with you, watching matches, commentating matches, discussing. And I'll do that quite a lot this year. And the 12th unforced error of Novak, who hits that forehand with the body weight going backwards. And that's why the ball escapes this way. Very frustrated. Djokovic. And he has all the reasons to be because got an early break. He made in a way the match easy, for at least the first set easy for him. And then he started to miss. And also, I mean, more than missing, also a lot of times he has the ball to finish and it doesn't finish. Okay, this is his efficiency at the net. So that's the 67 is the percentage of points at the net on tour. 66% is Djokovic at the 2026 Australian Open. How many times he came to the net? I mean, the percentage of times he came to the net against Musetti so far, less than usual, only 50%. And again, an overhead that he doesn't put away, a volley that he doesn't put away. Looks like it's the story of that match. Okay, so that's the percentage of points won. And Musetti breaks again because of Novak not being decisive when he can. Okay, let's restart. So 67% of points won at the net on tour, that's the average. 66% so far of points won by Novak at the Australian Open. And so far, he won against Musetti only 50%, and that was before the last game. So we're probably way under now. Let me see. Yeah, we're at 45%, which is extremely low because, of course, Novak comes to the net to finish up the points. So most of the time, he comes to the net in very good conditions where he just needs to put the ball away. Mumbo thinks it's because, I mean, she says, or he says, I don't know, sorry. He says that Novak looks tired. I don't think he's tired at all. I mean, if he's tired, then he shouldn't even enter the Grand Slams because, yeah, sorry, Mumbo. You're a guy. When you win so easily, you play first round, you play against Martinez, then Maestrelli, Van der Zandschulp, and then you don't even play because Mensik withdraws. You cannot be tired. It's just impossible, and I don't think he is, but I think he's flat. Yes, he is flat today. And again, it's a question of, energy, and the energy comes from the will, from the motivation, from the drive. And that's why I said I'm being very critical of Novak in that match so far, because to me it's painful to see him so flat. He's never been a flat guy. You can like him or hate him, but he's everything but flat. And I will always remember that Grand Slam final at the Australian Open when he played against Rafa, because I was there, but I was literally physically 1 meter away from them in the locker room just before the final, and I see Rafa right before entering the court to play the final. He's doing all the Rafa things. He's jumping. He's putting on all this crazy energy that he always puts on right before entering the court. It's something he always did, and Novak is not here, and everybody wonders, where is he? Because they're going to enter the court in a few minutes. Where is Novak? And suddenly, the fitness room is just a few meters away from the entrance. The doors of the fitness opens, and Novak enters a king. Unbelievable. The aura around him, the looks in his eyes, you could feel that this guy was on a mission. That was unbelievable. It's one of the strongest things I've seen in my life, I've experienced. And I will always remember that. And I don't remember who I was with, but I remember telling to that person, well, Novak is going to destroy Rafa. That's obvious. And he destroyed him. 3 sets, but really 3 straight sets. He just outplayed Rafa in a way that was obvious. This guy was on a mission. So when I see him like this now, it's difficult for me. 14 unforced errors for Novak and still 5 for Musetti. Didn't hit one since he broke Novak again, and Novak is complaining because he's angry at himself. I have a question. I have another statistic coming up soon. I just want to see this point. Oof! Lucky Novak, who didn't put the ball away one more time on this volley. That was so easy for him. He was right behind the net. Alcaraz said about de Minaur, he said, we know the qualities of this player. He is so focused. He moves incredible. He doesn't miss. So that's why he's so tough to play. And he said, I feel that when he plays against us, the really top players, he feels he has to do more, and he goes for too much. He's trying to hit the ball too hard, and he's making too many unforced errors. And in a way, he doesn't play his game anymore, and he makes the match too easy for us. I mean, he didn't say it that way, but this is really what he meant. So he was basically telling Alex de Minaur, when you play us, play the same as when you play other guys. Don't try to overplay, because that's what you're doing. And by overplaying, I mean, you make it too easy for us because you give us points. And in a way, your quality is not to give any points. So when you start to give points, completely a different, it's too easy for us. So that was nice. I think it was really nice of him to say that because coming from him, he's going to take it for sure. I'm sure his team is telling him the same, but it doesn't really click. And I'm sure that coming from Alcaraz, it might click and help him in the next matches he's going to play against the top guys. Because he's been top 10 now for a while. He's crazy solid in the top 10, but his percentage, de Minaur's percentage of matches win in the top 10 is way too low because he feels he has to do more. So let's show the statistics that we have in that match so far. That says that Musetti is pressing. It says over pressing on first serves. So that's the percentage of first serves in of Musetti throughout the whole tournament. It was at 62, and now it's at 50% of first serves in that match. I tell you, he doesn't really do so well, and he's still 4-2 up, and he had 3 break points for 5-2, on which Novak played well. I mean, he almost got broken on that easy volley that he didn't put away. He was a bit lucky, I think, but also his first serve And that's what I said. I said, when you have such a low percentage of first serve, put some spin, improve it. You can't serve only second serves. So his first serve speed in the first 4 rounds was around 196 kilometers per hour. Today, 207. So he's pushing. That's what they meant by overpressing. He's trying to overhit his serve. I mean, it's funny because we were just talking about overplaying, overhitting, and then it hurts his percentage of first serve. So that was a very interesting set of data. Thank you, Tim. And we're back to use. I had a question that I want to answer about. So from Dejen247 saying, hey, coach, do you believe players perform better when they get more support from the crowd? I think it's either or. Of course, support makes a huge difference. The energy of the crowd definitely feeds the player. When I said either or, I meant when players play at home, they have their home crowd. It's a huge support. It's a big plus. And traditionally, American players in the US are playing so much better than the rest of the year. But sometimes it can be too heavy for some players that feel that they have to deliver to please the crowd, and that's their responsibility. And when this happens, they sometimes are unable to play the level. Good question from Stefaru asking if a player gets a walkover, especially in a weaker section of the draw, can that actually throw him out of rhythm? Yes, it can, and that's why it's important to adapt the practice so that they don't lose the rhythm. On a match day, you're not going to do a traditional 1 hour, 1 hour and a half practice. You're going to push more to keep the rhythm, and you can even have someone to play points. You need to compensate the fact that you have potentially between the two matches, 4 days. It's a lot. So, but you can, and with Novak's experience in the Grand Slams, I doubt he didn't do the right thing. And I think it's more, again, mental. Everything is in the head. And the difference between Novak and the other players is his mindset, which is unbelievable. He's always been the biggest professional, taking care of every detail, and his motivation and determination is something else. But when he gets hurt and he's less motivated, then you see him play this way. And the worst was last year when he showed up in some Masters 1000 completely unprepared and lost in the first round. He did this in Indian Wells. He did this in Monte Carlo. He did this in... If you're not motivated and you didn't prepare, just don't go. Don't play. He played the semifinals of the 4 Grand Slams last year. But... he went to Qatar, he played Berrettini, lost in 2 sets. He went to Indian Wells, played Botic, Van der Zandschulp, and he lost. He went to Monte Carlo, he played Tabilo in the first round, he lost in 2 sets. Went to Madrid, the first round, he lost to Arnaldi in 2 sets. Then, Geneva, the week before Grand Slam, he won the tournament. Then he played Paris, and he was in semifinals. Then he went to Wimbledon, was in semifinals. Then he went to New York, and he was in semifinals. And then he went to Athens. This is the city where he lives now, and he wanted to do well because now it's his city, and he won the tournament beating Musetti in the final. Is it mental, or is it technical, or is it about his age? No, it's mental. Let's go back. He didn't even play the ATP finals because he doesn't care, which is fine. I understand at this stage of his career, doesn't matter. Okay, but Novak needs to break back now, so he'd better refocus. Oh my God, another volley. But look how static again, because it's one thing to witness that is missing so many easy volleys, but look how slow and static he is on that volley. You need to be super dynamic, and it's almost a sprint. After the split step, you need to sprint forward to meet the ball, and then let your body continue the movement forward for maybe 1, 2, 3 steps. He's super slow on his legs, and he's stopping once he hits the ball. 5-3 Musetti. The Italian makes his match, plays his match. So far, he's doing what he has to do. What is this discussion about? That's an incredible miss from Lorenzo on that backhand, but the anticipation of Novak made him change his mind, and that's why he missed an ace. That's definitely one of the worst things you can do in tennis, is to change your mind. When you have one target, go for it. Don't change your mind. Set points for Musetti. And I'm curious to see if there will be a reaction from Novak after losing that first set. Didn't lose it yet, but he's really on the way. Another mistake from Novak. And 6-4 Musetti. So I was saying that the nightmare continues for Novak, who's broken in that first game of the second set. Still the same scenario. Inefficient at the net. Again, that backhand volley we saw in the slow motion. He's totally static on it. Just pushes the ball with the arm. No leg involved, so the ball is slow and gives a lot of time to the opponent to put that ball away. Musetti hitting a great topspin lob. I understand the win predictor because even though he's down a set and it was a set and a breakdown, you still feel it's so much up to him. And another break point for Musetti. What a weird match. No first serve. Musetti who returns very, very short, but Novak doesn't take advantage. And another unforced error from Novak. The 23rd and another break for Musetti. The fourth break already of that match. Two for Novak, 4 for Lorenzo. So when players are a bit flat with less motivation, it affects their movement. And when it does, then it affects so much the whole game. And it's funny to see players always when they start to miss a lot, blaming either their tension or their technique. But the technique is affected by your position. If you're too close to the ball, you're going to do this instead of going through the ball because you're in a bad position and you have to compensate. And it's a lot about having to compensate, and also when the movement is affected, a lot of times your body weight cannot go in the right direction because you're too close to the ball or too far to the ball. So you're losing your balance or you can either lose your balance or have your body weight go backwards or in the wrong direction. And that also causes mistakes. And so a lot is like Medvedev. Medvedev is never. He's not so much in a bad position. He has just a very personal technique. But I understand what you mean by compensating is a lot. Yeah, he's compensating a lot, yes. But to me, it's all about motivation, 100%. I've seen Novak motivated and he's a completely different player. So everybody's going to blame his age and, but he's old now. No, listen, he won 3 Grand Slams out of 4. And the first tournament of the next season, so just a few months later, he's playing completely a different level and he doesn't win 1 Grand Slam the whole year. Why? Did he get old overnight after 3 months? No. The year before, he won 3 out of 4 Grand Slams and played the final of the 4th. So, it has nothing to do with his age. I'm 100% sure that if he had the same motivation as before, he would be super efficient still, would still win Grand Slams and will be fighting with the 2 others to win Grand Slams and would win some. And to win the match, Musetti today, it just has to be consistent. That's it. So I said before the match that for Novak to be physically 100% for his potential semi-final against Sinner was really a key. And he should do all the efforts to win in 3 sets. He's definitely not in this mindset and he's definitely not going to win in 3. I agree with Scott Stotts that Alcaraz is the only player that looks like he's actually having fun. I think you're right, and I think it's extremely key for him to have fun because it helps him also being loose and relaxed and creative. When he's not having fun, he gets tight, he makes many more unforced errors, and is not as creative. So that's a key, and I think... but not everyone is like this. Sinner is not someone who wants to have fun. He's not here to have fun. He's here to dominate, and he loves to dominate the rallies, hit winners. He enjoys it, but he's not having fun. Ben Shelton is also enjoying himself on the tennis court and having fun. Not always, but most of the time. And he needs it too. He needs to put on a show, otherwise he's not as good. That's why there are 2 of the most watched and liked players on tour, Ben Shelton and Carlos Alcaraz, because when someone enjoys and has fun and brings the show, of course, it's extremely pleasant for the fans watching. Good backhand down the line from Musetti. And one more point for Novak to win his service game. Scott Trotz is saying, it seems so obvious to you. You'd think someone as experienced as Novak would, of course, know this. I don't know what you're referring to. Oh, the footwork, yes. How do you let this happen at this level? I think he lets this happen because he doesn't have a huge motivation. That's simple. But I understand. I'm not blaming him for that. I completely understand that his motivation at some point has to get lower when you achieved the goal of his whole career, being the greatest in terms of achievements. And I know it's tough. I know it's tough to keep that motivation alive, and that's the reason for the results. That's why he doesn't win Grand Slams. It's not the age. I don't believe at all it's the age. That the recovery is more difficult between matches because of his age, 100%. Yeah, we expected a really good match because those players have had so many fights and so many, on the court, of course, so many crazy battles, many five-setters in Grand Slams. And even the last time they played each other in Athens, it ended up 7-5 in the third for Novak. So we thought, wow, that could be really a great match. But we're far from that for the moment. 26 unforced errors for Novak, 6 breaks already. And now an occasion for Novak for a 7th break in not even 2 sets. That's a good one. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, from Magi Shona. In the case of Novak, it's more how you will be remembered, and you will be remembered as the greatest of all times. And people will forget how he finishes, completely forget. I don't think that Serena finished well her career, but nobody cares. She's the greatest of all times, and that's all we remember. I do believe he can turn it around too. I really do. But something has to come from inside him, something stronger. For the moment, he's playing tennis without being himself. And it's funny, I said herself because it reminds me of an anecdote with Serena, which I already told a few times, but it's really struck me. And in a way, it's the same thing. You don't have this. I think all the greatest champions share that in common. They have an incredible personality and their will to win or to refuse to lose, which ends up being the same, is so strong that it makes them make wonders. Novak has always had that. Serena has always had that, and she's achieved some almost impossible things in her career because of her mindset, of her personality that is so strong. So 2014, she wins the US Open. 2015, she wins Australian Open, then Roland Garros, then Wimbledon, and then she plays the US Open to win 4 Grand Slams the same year and 5 in a row. And she ends up losing in semifinal against Vinci, which is a shock because she never lost against Vinci. That was like really a bad loss for her. That's how she felt. And Musetti saved his service game, by the way. And it hurts her a lot. But it hurts her so much that she loses what makes her who she is. So 2016, she's in the final of the Australian Open, but she's not herself. She loses the final. Then she has a few bad losses, and she reaches the final of Roland Garros, and I feel she's not going to win it because, she still plays great tennis, but what makes her so special, which is her personality, is so affected by what happened still, that, this power that you can feel from the person is not there. Exactly like Novak today. It's not there. You don't feel that power, that mental strength, that dedication, that strength. You don't feel it. I don't feel it for the moment from Novak. He's just a player. He's not the champion he is. So this happened to Serena, and she's playing the final of Roland Garros, and she plays against Muguruza. And before the match, I think she's not going to win this one because she is in the final because of her tennis, but not her personality. And in the final, to beat Muguruza, she will need her personality. She will need to be herself, to be Serena. So before the match, for the first time, I think I'm not gonna give her a strategy or anything. I have to remind her who she is. And I spend the whole speech that I give to her before the match, telling her her story to remind herself who she is and the strength she has. And that was one of the strongest coaching moment I experienced because she was crying the whole time and I was telling her story and remind her what she was able to achieve, on the professional and personal side. She enters the match a bomb. First 3 games, I think, wow, that's her. And then again, she lost it. She lost, again, her personality for the rest of the match and loses it. 1 week later, she calls me and she speaks to me about Wimbledon, and I'm with someone working with me. So I hang up the phone and I tell this person that she's with me, Serena is back. The way she spoke to me, I know she's back. I can tell you she's going to win Wimbledon. And she won Wimbledon. Didn't win the 2 first Grand Slams, but she won this one. All those unforced errors is movement. But when you don't move, it's either because you're tight, and I cannot believe that Novak is tight to play Musetti in a quarterfinal of a Grand Slam. And I don't want to be disrespectful for Musetti, but I can believe it. Or, lack of being pumped. He's not pumped at all, play that match. And he's not refusing to lose at all for the moment. I hope it will come. You never know. But so far, he doesn't have it. And to me, again, this anecdote with the ball boy that he almost hit by being angry shows that he's not into it. To be angry is a good sign because he shows he cares, potentially. But he was angry, winning. He was a set and a break up again, and he takes the risk to be disqualified. He's not to be disqualified for... And he knows, and he has the experience because it happened to him already. Why would you take that risk? This is crazy. And it shows he's not there. Here and here, no. You're right, Stefaru. Why would you take the risk to hurt a ball boy? For sure. But the guys, they're more thinking about their match and their career. So that's why I said, why would you take the risk to be disqualified of a Grand Slam just for a stupid thing that is so easy to avoid? Why? Because something's wrong. Something's wrong in your motivation, in your... He's not... he's been on a mission all his career, this guy. He's on a mission. And I feel that, again, since... Maybe something can happen and it better happen before the end of the set. And I'm talking about potentially Musetti breaking back. Of course, Novak breaking back. Just as a reminder, he's down a set and a break in that match. So it's time to start to move your feet, but Musetti doesn't give him that chance by hitting an ace. Oh, what a mistake from Novak again. Ball far away. And you see, he's not even angry. He doesn't care much. And I mean, I need to apologize to all of you guys because I hate to be negative like this. But I'm disappointed because I expected an amazing match and we were really hundreds of miles away from that. Also, I hate to see Novak like this or any champion. So this affects me. But to look at something positive in Novak's game today or his performance, it's difficult. I cannot name your nickname because it's too many eights, and I did a few times. But I understand the analogy with horse racing, and I understand Novak seems to be looking for the key moment that will give him the burst of energy, but it better happen soon because the score is still moving in the wrong direction for him. Hi, Kevin Court, an eighth from Novak. Let's see, actually, when he's down 6-4, 5-4 and Musetti is serving for the match, if we get to that point, if Novak is able to find something in himself, something he didn't show so far in the match. Oh, you ordered my book, Sacred Angel? Thank you. I hope you like it. It's 20 years of experience on tour with a lot of the biggest champions of that game and also knowing a lot of champions from other sports really well. Ooh, that, inspired me in understanding that the mindset is everything, and if we can take some things, we as humans, not gods like them, if we're able to take some things from their mindset to improve our lives or change our lives, that would be amazing. And I also tell about my experience as a human when I was a kid growing up, and I've been able to change my life from being a disaster to being able to achieve my dreams. And it's something I used a lot when I coached players, and I've been able to help them. And all those things I share in the book. And the goal is to, as I said, help people understand how the mindset can affect and completely change your life in a positive way or negative. But this we don't talk about. We talk about how it can affect positively your life. So my goal with writing the book was to give keys to people. So you'll tell me if it helped you or not. Thank you for reading again my book, Kevin Court. Key moment of that second set, because I think it's very important that Novak finds a way to push Musetti to serve for the set, for a 2-0 lead, which he doesn't do at the moment, with another enforced error. 31 so far in 2 sets. Yeah, the words can make a huge change too, but it's a lot about how you speak to yourself. Your words, and during the matches I always say to players that their inner talk, their discussion they're having with themselves. And that's done. 2-0 for Musetti. We're back. He has big blisters, Novak. That would also explain why he moves bad today. And I said it also, this is for me a big mistake for him to not to play much. I understand the idea to play less because he just focuses on the Grand Slams, but the problem is this one also. When you don't play much, when you play, you get blisters, your body gets really tired, you get sore a lot. Yeah, you can't do that. You either play or you don't play, and to play less is fine, but you need to play on a regular basis. And look at the end of the season. He didn't play. He played very little. Between Wimbledon and US Open, he played 0 match. So this doesn't work. Just to, for those who don't know, but I'm sure you guys are really much into tennis. On the women's side, Pegula beat Anisimova. Anisimova was completely out today. The number of unforced errors in the first set was unreal. She was missing everything. And on the other quarterfinals, Swiatek lost against Rybakina, and actually it's funny what she said in a press conference, because we know when she loses she's super angry, and that's when usually we have the best quotes. She said, because she's been asked about Coco being filmed breaking the racket, and there was a little bit of controversy because Coco said she was disappointed. She tries to isolate herself because she didn't want to break a racket in front of the crowd. She wanted to have her moment and be able to to break the racket alone. And she's been filmed, so that was a big discussion. And so she's been asked, and she answered. So I'm going to give you the quote. She said, "The question is, are we tennis players or are we animals in the zoo, where they are observed even when they're pooping?" That was an interesting quote. I mean, that's part of the game now, tennis is a show, and because of the social media and everything, now there are cameras everywhere. I mean, they're not in the locker room, actually. So technically, they cannot be filmed when they're pooping because this happens in the toilets. But yes, when they walk in the alley, when they are moving between the court and the fitness, when they're in the fitness, people want to know more about how they prepare, the interactions. Yes, they're interested about that. And this is really what it is about now. The behind the scenes, people are really interested, and I personally think it's good. I think it's a positive thing. And I understand Coco, the fact that she was pissed that she's been filmed breaking the racket, but she knows there are cameras. There are cameras everywhere, except in the locker room. So break it in the locker room. That's how you learn. It's fine. And to be crazy frustrated and to pass on the nerves on the racket, this, I said it many times, doesn't shock me more than that. If you break 200 or 400 rackets a year, then this is shocking because it means you break a racket like you're doing nothing. But that when it happens once in a while, I can understand. One statistic? Okay, let's go. We have one. Oh, and actually one interesting point that I want to also talk about is, at my tennis, in my tennis league UTS, the players have accepted to be even filmed in the locker room. Of course, we don't film them naked or under the shower, but there are a lot of crazy good interactions there, and people love to hear them. And players are happy that we can show them their interactions. And of course, before putting on anything on social media, we ask them, are you okay if we show that? And they always, not always, because sometimes they say things that cannot be heard, but most of the time they say yes, and it's great. And they're completely okay with that. Okay, statistics. So this is set 2, 2-1 for 2-1 in the second set. So on first serves, Djokovic was hitting 70% of the shots inside the court, which is a lot, but he was winning the point only 45% of the time, which is crazy, which is extremely low. That shows the inefficiency on shots that usually he never misses. Love 30, Musetti has a little down now. Will Novak be able to take advantage of it? We'll see. 3 break points in a row for Novak. Let's see if he's able to lead in that third set, which didn't happen much in that match. Just in the first set at the start, and then never happened again. What happens? Strange from Musetti. What happens? He didn't play that shot. Like, he was moved and he hit a shot and he continued to run. He didn't try to come back. I'm afraid that, this match is a complete joke from A to Z, that now Musetti is injured. This is not a good sign at all. Not at all. What's happening today? I tell you, this match, this Australian Open is the weirdest I've ever seen. Coco's match was such a shocker for me. Anisimova's match today, same. The second set was a little bit better. There were some good things too, but oh wow, they're calling the doctor. So they're showing the slow motion now of the last rally. Let's see if something. No, they're not showing the last rally. Oh, they're showing Musetti talking to his team and saying something that I didn't hear. Yeah, it's his knee. He called the physio. I don't know if they're going to be able to fix it. I don't know how bad it is. Oh, that's sad for him because he was really in a good position. The thing that doesn't look good is that it happened suddenly like this on one shot. In general, I'm not saying that something broke. It can be something that moved. If it's something that moved, then the physio / osteopath will be able to put it back. If it's something that broke, it's finished. Game over. Oh my God. We had Naomi Osaka who pulled out, who withdrawn after winning her match for the next one. We had Mensik, who also withdrawn before playing Novak. That's such a weird Australian Open. We had this crazy match of Sinner being cramping from head to toes. I don't remember such a weird Grand Slam in the past. I don't understand why Novak is stretching so much. He's stretching non-stop between the points as if he would be sore or tired, but sore or tired of what? He played so little in that tournament. But it's definitely the right leg, and I don't know if it looks like it's the quad because the physio is massaging a lot the quad. Musetti coming back on court, jogging. Now he's going to go to his team to talk. We'll know more in that service game from Novak. We'll see how he moves, if he's able to move, to adjust, if he's able to also sprint. For the moment, he's not playing. Musetti is just playing shots. Going for crazy winner, then drop shot. He refuses to rally, and that's not a good sign at all for the Italian. He's jogging and he's playing shots. So unless it's something that can recover and get better, if it's cramping, for example, which I doubt, if it's really an injury and is so affected, I don't think there is a way for him to finally. Now he's playing incredible. Oh, what is Novak doing? Did he hit the ball in the fence? Incredible return from Musetti, but Novak was there and hit a winner cross court. Good serve and an overhead winner for Novak, who's 3-1 up in the third. Musetti, who's going to come and speak to his team again, and I think he's hesitating to retire, and I think his coach advises him to retire, which I would do too if I feel my player is injured and he's not going to win this way. And the more he plays, the more he makes this injury gets worse. So there's no point. You're not going to win against anyone top 100 being injured and playing 50% and going just for shots. And even if you win, you won't be able to play the next one. So why would you take the risk to get even more injured? That would affect the rest of the season, and that's not a good decision. But I understand also how difficult it is to, pull out of a match, retire from a match when you're leading 2-1. 2-0, against Novak in a quarterfinal of a Grand Slam. Yes, Stefaru, this match is a joke from the start to the end. I hope we have a way better Shelton Sinner. And that's it. That's finished. Musetti retires. 2-0 to love for him. 3-1 down. Injury. He's telling Novak what happens. And yeah, it's the hip flexor. Definitely. That's sad. That's very sad. Well, talk about luck. Novak had the best draw in the history. He had two quite easy first rounds. Then he played a Van der Zandschulp that was half injured with the shoulder. Then Mensik pulled out. Didn't play. And then he plays Musetti. He's 2 sets to love down, and Musetti gets injured. Well, Novak will have one extra day to find a way to get rid of his blisters, and hopefully for him, put on a way better performance against either Sinner or Shelton. Otherwise, he will have zero chance. No, he's not satisfied, but that was the only way to win today for him. Only way. He was completely out of shape, moving really bad, hitting a world record of unforced errors for him. 2 sets and a break, and 32 unforced errors for Novak. So that was the only way to win today. That's it. Anyway, the match was really not a good match. And as a reminder, in semifinals of Roland Garros, already Musetti had to retire during the match against Alcaraz, so it's not the first time. And to answer Jason about the Minor, I think the one who aced it is Alcaraz, who said in the press conference that, and he feels that when he plays against the top guys, Alcaraz, Sinner, that the Minor tries to go for too much. He thinks he has to play better, harder, hit harder, and overplays and starts to make many more unforced errors, and that's not his game, and that's why he loses. So I think he really nailed it, and I think it's going to help the Minor for the future. So I think it was very thoughtful from Alcaraz to say this, because it probably is gonna hit the Minor and help him for the future matches against those two guys. No, I don't think he will take it badly. There is nothing insulting. Yes, thank you very much for following this match with me. Thank you, everyone, for being on the streaming. I hope you enjoyed your time. I tried to make it more interesting than the match today. This happens to have a bad match. Thank you for all the people who followed me on Twitch. Bye bye.